Hello everyone. Time for an update, but the Ponderosa map has officially been in development for 1 year as of March 20th. It is still planned to be released eventually, but there have been a few delays in the process. For one, Drake is now attending animation college, so he has had to put the project on hold numerous times. On Leap Day of this year, he sent me a little visual effect test that he made for his class, and he granted me permission to show you guys. Trust me when I say you'll want to see this.
Who are you, little one?
I'm Applejack. No apple.
I'm waiting for you. It's gonna be such got this feeling really deep in my soul.
That was nothing other than awesome, my dude. Nothing. Man, you think my editing skills are good, this guy's got me in the dust. And it really does open up a brighter future for Kale-Idle-Scope, if we put our brains together. And let me just say, Drake, if that clip does not get you passing that class, just give me the address to your professor's house or whatever so I can put this fist in their ass. But yeah, the project is taking a little bit longer than anticipated because of this, and there is the small chance it could come in 2025, but there's still a huge chunk left of this year, so I wouldn't worry about that right now. Another reason it's being delayed is because Drake got a new computer and is still in the process of moving everything from his previous one to the new one. And finally, Drake has told me that my uncle's trailer, the one I used as promotional artwork for when the project was first publicly announced, he's telling me it looks, quote, too blocky, and that he'd like to redo it from scratch. I guess I can see why that would be. I mean, I thought it looked completely acceptable for what it was, but if you can make it look even better, by all means, go ahead. So yeah, it looks like you'll have to be patient for a bit more, but in the meantime, we'll just keep doing more blogs and whatever else I can come up with. So let's get started. I mentioned this like 5 years ago, but superheroes were never really my thing. I mean, they kinda were, but not by a ton. If their story is crafted well, then yeah, I'll still watch them, but to me, with a lot of these movies and other things, it's just overhype, in my opinion anyway. Superman and other heroes like him are pretty marketable for being humans that can do things that humans can't do in real life. It is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie, but like I mentioned in 2019, a lot of these people are starting to feel very similar to each other. It is most definitely possible to make something based off of Batman a piece of shit, as well as something like, say, the Disney Princess is pretty cool. As long as the story is crafted well, who cares if it's not marketed towards grown males? So yeah, I mean, maybe there's more to the picture that I'm just not seeing, but you guys can probably tell I'm not the biggest hero nerd in the world. But I do know one thing, and it's kinda obvious. An unwritten rule that goes to any sort of being with supernatural powers that are very unrealistic. They must have at the very least one thing that weakens them. This is the rule that has been set in stone, my friends, and it will never ever change. It's guaranteed. You can't change that. It's not possible. Not being a huge expert, but I'm pretty confident that any hero that Marvel or DC has ever put out has at least one. But something you guys may not have known is that these weaknesses aren't always a physical object, like kryptonite for Superman. They come in various forms. Like, for example, for Batman, it's kind of the life of utility. Batman might have the best movie out of any of these heroes, The Dark Knight, but if you think about it, he's kind of spoiled with all those gizmos that Alfred invents. In concept, Batman is so kick-ass, he makes even the coolest kids at your high school feel like chumps. But if that were the case, why does he need all these freaking weird-ass toys? You have toys too, you joker. Not the same kind of toys, but I know you got them.
Somebody told me.
The Hulk kinda confused me for the longest time. Like, he wrecks so much crap up that it almost kinda feels like he's coming off as a villain. But I think I get it now. The Hulk is good as long as his anger doesn't get in the way, which for the record is kind of how it is for us as well. That would have to be his weakness, his own rage. Pretty much anybody ever born has been angry before, I'm pretty sure. It's just that some people know how to maintain it very well. and they make sure not to let it control their lives. So yeah, a weakness doesn't have to be a physical object that you just bump into and then you lose your powers. It doesn't have to be in that kind of form. But there is some sort of soft spot somewhere in all of these guys. Somewhere, even if it's very small, there is something that has to weaken them. I'm putting money on the table that none of you guys know a hero that doesn't have a weakness, except for one. I know you're thinking, Kale, that's impossible! They can't create a hero that doesn't have any weakness of any sort. Marvel and DC have scratched this rule into stone. Well, this hero does not come from either of those companies. I know it's hard to comprehend, but just bear with me. There is a hero so awesome, so powerful, and so advanced that there aren't even words that describe it. SMEW, an acronym for Super Mega Ultra Epic, doesn't even do him justice. He has been given the nickname Everything Man, who has all the powers of any superhero invented from the past or yet to be introduced. This hero, this almighty Everything Man, is God himself. And the most epic thing of all, he's probably not even a work of fiction. Now, that's debatable, and I'm not here to just get in the middle of that debate. I just know that people are making shit up about God that's not real. But for what he is, there could totally be a creator. But there's something wrong with that, though. There are things God cannot do. In fact, I can name like 5. This is the oldest one in the books, but he can't create a stone too big for him to lift. Because, you know, he's infinite. Size proportions is not a contributing factor to God. The other 4 being he can't sleep, he can't lie, he can't stop loving you, and he can't remember the sins that you've made after you've already repented from them. Yeah, God forgets all evil that happened after you've already apologized, but I can still remember them though. Does this mean I know something that God doesn't? Does this mean that he doesn't know everything? I mean, that's how it's coming off to me, so I guess even God himself has a weakness, and that weakness is logic. It's a confusing concept, and not everybody chooses to believe it because it makes no sense to them, but whatever the case, I think what I have stated is true. Every hero has a weakness. There have to be some sort of limitations here. Behemoth Blogmaster, you know, this guy, he has a weakness, and it's his old videos, but that's pretty obvious at this point. And it doesn't destroy him, it just weakens him. Like, every time I look back in the past, I'm like, what was I thinking? We are getting close to the 5-year anniversary, though, and I am pretty proud of how I've improved, so I think I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. Hallelujah!